So yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about today, is sort of a bankless system where you can sort of, do your own thing with inside crypto.
Back in those days, it was a lot of like, you call it kind of pump and dump now, but no one knew what was what.
No,
it was like,
right.
You
It was
just,
the Wild Wild West.
you're just getting into a token for cents and then hoping it goes north. And
but the biggest setup or problem with crypto on that at the moment is the on and off board.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? The in and the out, which is what you guys have a solution for. So go into how you started with Trustyfy and what you guys are currently doing at the moment. Then we'll go more into what it actually does.
Yeah, sure. So
you know what I mean?
Edge Radio Australia, it is time for the Crypto Hour of Power. I have no idea what you just heard then, but let's be absolutely honest. It was inappropriate. It had to be, right? Because who's the man who said it?
It's me.
It's Brandon.
Hello, everyone.
Crypto Hour of Power.
So yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about today, is sort of a bankless system where you can sort of, do your own thing with inside crypto. So today we have Michael. He's from Trustyfy. And what we'll do, like we normally do, is we just start off with, obviously, Michael, you didn't first start off in crypto.
No,
you know
absolutely.
what I mean?
Yeah. So thanks for having me along today, guys.
Absolutely.
Awesome to be here.
Pleasure, mate.
So I was in the building and construction game for best part of 20 years.
Okay.
Did an apprenticeship there.
Yep.
As what?
Cabinet maker, actually.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So, if I go back a step from that, I'm kind of one of those guys that never really fit in traditional sort of.
As a chippy, you're a square peg in a round hole. Is that what you're telling me?
At school.
Boom, boom.
Oh, come on. That was worth something.
It was pretty good. Sharp, very sharp. Yeah, so school, I never quite fit in at school. And I saw a trade as the fastest way that I could get myself into business.
Sure.
So, 16, dropped out of school, got a trade. By 22, set up my own company in that space. That company ran for about 13 years, had a couple of spin-offs in there as well. So we did a lot of joinery, kitchens, bathrooms, about 1,500 new homes a year, 2 or 3 high-rise buildings a year, logistics and those sorts of things as well.
Doing well.
Yeah.
Nice.
So then worked out that I didn't really, not that I didn't enjoy it, but I didn't see my wife and kids.
Okay.
Like when I was young, it was just me making those sacrifices.
Yeah, man.
As I got a bit older, then wife and then kids, and they're making the sacrifice too. And then, so ended up wrapping up a couple of those businesses, sold another one, or sold 2, wrapped up one. And it was right when social media was kind of going from just a couple of lines of text to like being able to put pictures up. Yeah, like 2007, 2008, around there.
Yeah,
that's a while ago, isn't it? The world has changed so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I saw that as an opportunity for marketing. Like I was, I don't know, just kind of, for me, it was like the game's changing. And so I started to like really dive into online marketing and trying to find good products to market and so forth. And that took me, I don't know, 7 or so years to kind of get good and master, well, not master that,
learn the game.
Yeah, learn the game, get good enough at it. And then I did really well. And pretty much semi-retired, moved my wife, my kids, myself to Fiji.
I hate to see you struggle like this. Come on,
2015. 2016 we moved. And I only just recently moved back to Australia because now I've got teenagers. That's, social life. They want shopping. We're on 230 acres of rainforest on the beach on a remote island.
Oh, look, you were suffering through it. Why would you possibly? I mean, look, Australia's great. We love Australia, but geez, I don't know. That's pretty tempting.
It was awesome. Best thing we ever did in terms of bringing up our kids and who they've become in that process. But there's a price. There's always a payoff, right?
Of course.
And so they want the shopping malls, the cinemas, the cafes and restaurants. We had none of that.
Yeah.
So their social life and probably their education as well. My eldest has just gone into year 11. So that's been a big part of moving back here.
Very cool.
Well, so then how do you do I can see the transition where you're in social media and you're sort of understanding it. How did you first step into crypto?
Well, that was living remote, a lot of time on my hands, a lot of fishing, a lot of diving, a lot of not much else.
Yep.
And I got a pretty good network globally that a real entrepreneurial kind of breed. And a few of those guys were getting into crypto. Back in those days, it was a lot of like, you call it kind of pump and dump now, but no one knew what was what.
No,
it was like,
It was the Wild Wild West.
you're
wasn't it,
just
brother?
getting into a token for cents and then hoping it goes north. And you know, I saw it as a gamble back then, and it kind of is a gamble. I think that sort of activity.
Yeah.
So I did a little bit of that, a little bit of you know, trying to not necessarily trade, but try and buy and then sell high, basically.
Yeah.
Hold for a little bit. And
It's a principle that's worked for a while.
Yeah.
What year was that?
so that was sort of 2017 is when I really sort of started doing that stuff.
Yeah.
And then
it's funny. I mean, going sort of back, circling back a little bit. When you don't quite fit in at school, you do find that a lot of people become quite entrepreneurial about that. We're a little bit different. You look at the world differently, and you've certainly taken that path. So looking at crypto, you saw the opportunity. I think that's probably the biggest thing. You know, a lot of people see the obstacles and they see the reasons not to do it. You obviously have got that kind of spirit that you thought, no, this is an opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that 100%. I think the longer that you're in the traditional education system, the more you kind of get programmed almost to be a great employee.
Yes.
So the sooner you kind of get away from that, I'm not saying that everyone needs to get away from that, but it sort of, I gravitated away from that. And you do, I thought it was a bit of a curse for a while, but I kind of think differently to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And
100%.
Yeah, I understand when you say the word curse, because I call it a blessing and a curse. You know what I mean? With anything that is a blessing, obviously it has payoffs. You know, we think a little bit differently. We're a bit outside the box. Because sometimes I look at people that have 9 to 5 or on the mine site that have been on for years, and I go, my life would be a lot simpler.
Yeah, it would be.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's just not. It was just not in me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, all right. So you got into crypto 2016, 2017. The industry has changed so much, hasn't it? I mean, we're saying back in the day, it was like 8-10 years ago. You know what I mean? Like it's a historical event, but it was with the exchanges. Now we've really moved. We had the ICO boom, and then the NFTs, and gone through all of that. So now it's very institutionalized. You know, a lot of people are celebrating that. I, being an anarchist, don't really like that. You know what I mean? I liked it back in how it was in the day. But the biggest setup or problem with crypto on that at the moment is the on and off board. You know what I mean? The in and the out, which is what you guys have a solution for. So go into how you started with Trustyfy and what you guys are currently doing at the moment. Then we'll go more into what it actually does.
Yeah, sure. So while I was on my little patch of paradise over there in Fiji, a good friend of mine reached out, said he's working on a bit of a blockchain project, wants to chat with me about it, thinks it's going to be a big one. And so jump on a Zoom call with him. Turns out he's putting together kind of like an incubator / innovation lab to build Web3 tech.
Right.
Because, you know, as you mentioned, Brandon, it's kind of going from that just Wild West of anarchy to real infrastructure. Like, you know, I travel the world going to different conventions like the one we've got in Perth this week. And in the last 6 months, maybe even 12 months, I've noticed a lot of the projects there have gone from the stupid pump and dumps, the crazy, in my mind, worthless kind of NFTs with no utility to actual infrastructure.
Yeah. Well, utilities, that's the word, right? Let's be honest. And I think that's the big change that I see. And obviously when we're talking about real world assets, things like that, I think the whole crypto world has changed so much. It's got a great legitimacy about it.
Definitely. Yeah. And so, you know, the early day stuff and what Bitcoin in particular, in my mind, stands for, like that kind of store of wealth, that digital gold, like I think that will always remain. But the tech behind what has made Bitcoin, like the actual blockchain tech, is what's really going to change basically everything as we know it. Yeah. And whether we know that on the user interface side, you know, I have a lot of conversations at these conventions, especially the big crypto ones, and I find it's kind of like nerds making tech for other nerds. And they get off on all the terminology. So I'm like looking at them like, man, I've been in here a while. I've got no idea what you're talking about. Yeah. And then I'm like, when you're sending an email or, you know, watching YouTube or listening to a podcast, do you care about the tech that's making it possible, or are you just using a platform? They're just using a platform. And so, you know, in blockchain, grandma wants to send her grandson $50 for his birthday. Yeah. She doesn't care how it works, just as long as it gets there and it doesn't cost her much. And it's easy.
Yeah. The nerd side it's kind of like Comic-Con with any of these things, you know, everybody's kind of on that same that level. But at the end of the day, you're right. You just want to send money, or you want to make money, or we want to use it for commerce, and we want it to be simple. I mean, if if Simple didn't sell, no one would buy Apple products.
That's
okay?
right. And
Yeah.
believe it or not, the more simple you want to make things, the more difficult it becomes with coding and
Imagine.
100%.
Mm.
Yeah.
And so so that was back in 22.
Mhm.
I joined forces and we started building tech. And Trustyfy is one of those projects. So Trustyfy has been kind of under the radar for a couple of years.
Okay.
I describe it as an application that kind of bridges the gap between traditional finance and decentralized finance.
All right.
We all love the benefits that come with the decentralized finance, but let's face it can't go mainstream the way it is. Like, I don't know if you listeners remember the first time you set up a wallet or an exchange, trying to get funds from your bank to an exchange and then from an exchange to your wallet, nightmare.
Yeah.
Like the amount of code browns I've had over the years when you've sent it and it's like, it's not there and it's like, what have I done?
Yeah.
And then you got to pick up the phone, you got to ring the person who was holding your hand through it and they take you through it again and again. It's difficult.
Yeah. It was made very difficult.
So with Trustyfy, to set up an account, they put in their email address, they get a one-time password, direct to their email, paste that in, name the account, that puts them on chain straight away.
That's it.
Like within 3 minutes.
Nice.
And
So no seed phrase.
no seed phrase. That's kind of old tech now. Seed phrase, everyone's kind of moving away from that.
Yeah, by seed phrase for people out there, basically 12 to 16 words that are randomly chosen. And then if you lose your wallet or whatever, you then type in them words and then all your crypto appears.
That's right.
So you don't, that infrastructure still is there, but you've got a thing on top. Is that right? Or is it?
It's not there.
It's not there at
No.
all. Okay.
Yeah. So once they go through, they put the OTP in, they name the account, that puts them on chain, gives them a non-custodial wallet, so it's completely decentralized.
Okay.
No one can freeze it, no one can access it, no one can block transactions, and it's
What if
between
they
you and the
forget
blockchain.
their password?
So you, it's your email address that gives you a one-time password every time.
Every time.
Right.
What you want to
Okay.
do for extra layer of security, you want to put 2FA on your Trustyfy account.
Yeah.
So Google
2FA?
Authenticator, two-factor authentication.
Yeah.
So Google Authenticator. And then that can give you a timer where it changes, constantly. And
Cool. So you don't have to remember passwords as well.
Very much.
I hate passwords. Bane of my existence.
Remember I was saying about grandma on chain.
Yeah,
you want
yeah.
to make it simple.
That's
Yeah,
right.
cool.
And then
got to take it to that level.
it works on any device, any browser, anywhere.
Uh-huh.
So, no special extension, anything like that. It's a web application. So if Apple Store or Google Store, like we're not at the mercy of those guys. You can
Right.
literally access it via any browser.
That's really important. Now, another word that you used earlier that sort of strikes with me, you said about freezing accounts, because this is becoming a real problem. I've got a lot of friends. I'm not in the underworld. I'm not, doing, illegal things. But geez, a lot of my friends are getting frozen all the time.
I said to someone the other week, I'm sick of being made to feel like a criminal every time I want to use my own money in my own bank account.
Yeah.
Like, do you have it? I'll try and send a transaction overseas in particular. They'll do this. They'll ask me for an invoice.
Yeah, I know.
So, well, none of your business.
And what's it for? And you got to explain yourself. No, guess what? The bank, you work for me. I don't have to explain myself to explain why I want to use my own money.
Yeah, an example of one of our clients is in the construction trade. He owns businesses right across Australia. Put about 300,000 or 400,000 into an exchange. We helped him do it all. And then they wanted to know where he got that 300,000 from. So he's like, well, I got 20 grand from this contract and over 5-6 years and 80 grand from this one or whatever. He had to have all that paperwork before they would release his crypto.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. So most people have heard of
8 months.
most people have heard of like KYC, as in know your customer, AML, anti-money laundering, but there's now KYT in the traditional finance system, and that's know your transaction.
Oh, right. Is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah. So the AML is where the funds have come from, how you've ended up with that. The KYT is who you're transacting to.
Right.
We had an expert speaker coming in for a symposium that we ran a few months ago, bringing someone in from the US, and we basically had to buy her tickets and organise things. What a nightmare. Literally, the bank wanted to know everything, all but a blood sample. It was just crazy. So it drew the whole process out, and in fact, it ended up costing us more.
And it's a good little segue because we were talking about it off camera or whatever you want to call it before about the transition side of things from one bank to another bank, and the problem. So go into that.
Yeah. So even before we get to that, like what I was saying, you get a native wallet set up when you set up an account, but with wallet agnostic as well. So you can connect other wallets to your Trustyfy account. So you kind of think of it as like the browser for your finances, not just in Web3, because as you're saying, Brandon, you can kind of add a traditional bank account or a fiat bank account inside the application.
Yeah. Okay.
So you can go into the settings, you can do a quick KYC in the app. So anything that's in the traditional finance space, it's highly regulated, right? So you got to tick all those boxes. So one of them is knowing your customer. Right. So you do that in the application. That's a third-party thing. So Trustyfy doesn't store that data. So if someone comes to Trustyfy and says, "Can you tell me all about Michael Simon?" They'll go, "Who's he?" Yeah. Like all Trustyfy have on me is an email address. Right.
That's it.
But the third-party provider does the KYC. And then through our partnerships, you can set up a fiat account in there. So you can do like a Euro account, USD account, IBAN, USD account, Swift account, hopefully shortly, very shortly, AUD accounts, New Zealand accounts, Great British pounds. And so what I can do for on-ramping, I can send from my traditional Australian bank account, my CommBank, for instance, I can send from Michael's CommBank account to Michael's Trustyfy account, and it will be instant. Nothing's flagged in the system like I'm going to an exchange or Web3.
Okay.
Yeah, because you're going from your account to your account.
My account to my account.
Question on that then, fees?
So no fees.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yep. Yeah. So at the moment, we don't have the Aussie bank account. So right now I'm sending to a USD Swift account. Now there's fees there, but that depends on your bank. Yeah. Sometimes it's $15, $20, $30, depending on your bank.
Yep.
But this doesn't really work in Australia at the moment.
It works. And from what I've seen, in my own experience, it's one of the best solutions for on-ramping because, as we spoke about before, super difficult to on-ramp right now. Back in 2017, I could do $50,000 a day.
Yep.
Now I can't even do $1,000.
Yep.
Without it being blocked.
And it's not going to get any better.
And my exchange, my bank would charge me $30 every time I sent to an exchange.
Is that right?
Yep. And it's individual, right? This is my experience. Some people have more, some people have less.
I mean, this is obviously not financial advice. We're having a conversation.
That's right.
Here. Yeah.
So my bank would charge me $30 every time I sent to my exchange. And then when I would exchange it on the exchange from fiat into whatever crypto, the spread they would give me, it worked out they were charging me 5 or 6% every time.
Yep.
It's a horrendous spread.
It really is.
So what we do with Trustyfy, you send from your bank account to your Trustyfy bank account, then you swap directly on chain for crypto. So we're multi-chain right now. We've got Ethereum, Polygon, Binance chain. We're about to add Bitcoin. Then we're going to add Solana, Tron, XRP. That we'll continually add chains. But because of the way the software is built in the back end, I've swapped and I've gotten a better rate than the Googled rate at the time. Because it's an aggregator, right? Okay. So it goes out and finds you the best deals for your swap, your exchange.
Oh, even better. Okay. So then do you have to instigate that or is that automatic?
It's automatic.
Okay.
So run me through a scenario. I'm really, really keen. Get a Trustyfy wallet, connect my bank account, send it. Now what do I do?
So you don't connect your bank account. You open up a bank account inside Trustyfy in your name. Yeah. You send from your bank account that you have now.
Yep.
Your traditional bank account, want to think of it like that, to your Trustyfy bank account. This is for on-ramping, right? So then that will be US dollars that hits there right now because we don't have the Aussie account set up quite now. Not sure how much I'm allowed to say about that, but right now it's US dollar account. And then what you do then is you swap for, let's say you want USDC. So I travel a lot, like I'm overseas 1 week a month usually. I load I got a virtual card on here,
right?
And a physical card. So I load that with stablecoin,
right?
And so when I'm swapping, I'm mainly swapping for stablecoin.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So once I've got Bitcoin in there, then I'll be doing that for a store of wealth. But right now it's mainly utility for me. So you swap directly on chain, and then that will sit in my native wallet. And then I can do what I like with it from there. And then that's where I can send it. I can move from a native wallet onto a virtual card, onto a physical card. Yeah. Yeah.
So hypothetically, got 10 grand, 10 grand worth of stable coin, and then buy 5 altcoins for $2,000 each with that swap function, and you'll get a better rate.
Better than what it would work out on an exchange.
On the exchange.
Yeah.
And then it's also inside your wallet that you can then spend.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
I'm seeing no downside here. Absolutely none.
Yeah, that's the game plan.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many people that are fed up with the banks overstepping the mark. Like me, one of you mentioned before. Like I've had 3 accounts frozen in the last 4 months.
Wow.
2 of them are corporate accounts. They wanted me to KYB. One of them's 22 years old. It's like, why all of a sudden, like I've been in good standing with you for 22 years, and all of a sudden I got to do a KYB. And if you've ever done a know your business paperwork for a corporate account, oh my God.
Yep. Absolute nightmare.
It's a nightmare. It takes forever. And those documents, you need to buy some of them because they expire, some of them, the ASIC searches and all of that. Yeah.
Well, there's the cost involved in the time of filling them in. This is a business. And business
about 6 hours.
There you go.
Yeah, well, that's the thing when they say, oh, you know, this is the cost. It's like, no, it's not.
No.
One is the stress, the headache, and my time.
Yeah.
You know,
your time is worth money.
Mm.
You know, people need to realize that, you know, especially if it's an employee situation, you're paying someone or to have that done. Yeah, it's an added expense to it. So.
Yeah. So, you know, those people that are fed up with the banks overstepping, it's a game changer. Those people that are in crypto or wanting to get into crypto and are just struggling with the exchanges and the way it's set up and the banks freezing and blocking.
That's kind of where I wanted you to go to is with crypto people, they sort of keep up with the bit, you know what I mean? So it won't take them long to do a bit of research. But if someone's brand new to crypto, got no idea, they can go to Trustyfy, connect it, bada bing, and away they go.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Less hassle than an exchange.
Yeah.
No headaches.
Like intuitive. Our user interface, the user experience, we've brought Web 2 banking into the Web 3 space. So the user interface, user experience, it's intuitive. It's exactly what they've always done on their online banking.
Okay. For those who are watching maybe for the first time and don't know what Web 3 is, I know we've talked about it a lot, but do you guys want to just go with that?
Yep. So Web 3 is the next evolution of the internet, basically. And so they're talking that
Web 1 was email.
Yeah.
Web 2, social media.
Yeah, Web 2 is like, you know, being able to do, if you remember Web 1, when someone would send you an image, it would load like line by line, and it's like you're waiting 15, 20 minutes for a picture to come through. Web 2, they send it, you got the picture, right? Web 2's made YouTube possible.
Yeah, that's right. And Facebook and that sort of stuff is interactive.
So Web 3 is that next evolution, mainly around finance, but mostly it's the Web 3 tech. So how that's going to change. And it's more of a decentralized nature to it than centralized.
Right. Yeah. I appear on the, I can see appearing on the screen, the little sign that tells me people are making comments on platforms we can't see. Love to actually answer those questions. If you can put them through YouTube, that'd be fantastic. We can look at them now, but otherwise, Brandon will look during the week.
Yes, 100%. How can you can't do it on Facebook and all that? He's not letting you.
The rules keep changing, my friend. That's how the internet works.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's Web 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Web 2.
Yeah, exactly right. We keep trying to break it, trust me. But no, I mean, it's a fantastic thing that we are able to get out to so many people on so many platforms.
Yeah.
That is just one of our, I know, great strengths. But at the same time, I love interaction. I love when people can make comments and ask questions. And they do restrict the formats that will do it. And Facebook give you they restrict you quite a bit on that now.
Are you telling me fascist book censors people?
I can't believe it either. I was just
down with me, mate.
There we go.
All right, so let's go into, you've been in the crypto a while. How much more time we got, brother?
Oh, look, I don't know, mate. How about, look, can I give you 7 minutes if you like?
7 minutes, all right. All right, so been in crypto for a while. We're obviously bullish on Bitcoin. Right? Are there any alts that you're kind of bullish on? Not financial advice, educational purposes only.
So not really. Like I am all about utility, right? So back in the day, I had quite a few Ethereum through just not knowing what I was doing, really. I had 1,700 Ethereum tokens stolen. And that kind of PTSD'd me into never wanting Ethereum again. But I'm the tokens I hold, the coins I hold, Bitcoin, Ethereum again, XRP and Solana.
Right.
I'm kind of
that is the gold standard, really.
Yeah, I'm kind of holding the XRP. I'm not like losing the plot like a lot of the XRP guys out there are about it. But I've got it there as a hedge my bets type thing.
But this is actually probably an opportunity also to explain the difference between Ripple and XRP, because a lot of people don't know.
Who cares?
Okay.
So for me, the downside of the XRP whole ecosystem is more of a centralized type scenario. And everything that I love about Bitcoin is more towards getting our sovereignty back and decentralization.
100%. And like, I don't know if you've been through this experience, but when we first got into it, I had like 20 or 30 coins. You know what I mean? The older I get, the less I do.
Yeah.
You know, I have my bag's probably about maybe 8,
Yeah.
you know. But I kind of, you know, the Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, obviously, a little bit of Cardano. I have a little bit of XRP. I love Chainlink. Also BST token. And then occasionally I might put, say, 5% of my portfolio into an absolute moonshot.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Do you still chase the little moons every now and then?
No. And, you know, I was going through an old laptop and I found an old spreadsheet from back in 2018, 2019, where I was like tracking, and it was the same. I had like this many freaking tokens there. And you go back through, most of them are just zeros. You know?
Yeah, 100%.
So, 100%. Unless the more that I've been involved in this space, the more that I've plugged into big events and seen where things are headed. You know, everyone's heard the analogy where it's like back in the gold rush days, the first millionaires were the people selling the picks and the shovels. Right.
Yeah, so true.
So I'm not trying to dig for gold anymore. I'm selling picks and shovels. And that's why I'm, you know, part of Trustyfy and other projects like tokenization projects, projects that are going to make our lives better, make things cheaper and easier. Like if I even just think about just cross-border payments, like trying to send money international, like these companies that have staff all over the world, of course, you know, they're getting their accounts frozen just trying to do payroll.
I do XRP for my VAs.
Yeah, there you go.
You know what I mean? Bada bing, it's there. Don't have to go through PayPal. Don't have to carry on.
Yeah. So in your Trustyfy corporate account, you can set up your payroll. It can be automatic. Like,
is that right?
Yeah.
I was just about to say to you, can you kind of give me the elevator pitch of you know what you do, but you pretty well have. I mean, let's face it. This is something that has genuine utility, something that will actually solve a problem. And I think that's the difference, really. Does it solve a problem?
Yeah. Oh, look, there's a lot of shit coins. I mean, I've had this conversation over and over again. The crypto is like the 2000, whatever, the internet boom. You know, you put .com after whatever and it went up and to the right. 99.9% of them have all failed. Same thing's going to happen in crypto.
But you know what didn't fail in the .com boom?
Apple.
The internet.
Yeah, that's
right.
Yeah, sure.
So trying to pick the company or the token or whatever is like a freaking minefield.
Sure.
But and so people goes, it was a bubble at burst. Okay, maybe some of the companies did. The actual ecosystem, the actual internet did not change their lives forever.
But you also got Amazon, Apple, Microsoft.
You're forgetting about the real biggies like edgeradioaustralia.com, those ones.
Yeah,
you know,
huge.
The big players.
Yeah, that's right, brother. Yeah, because they had like pets and all manner of stuff. I mean, I remember where some guy bought BondiBeach.com, right, for nothing, and then he sold it to the council for like a lot of money because they needed that tag. You know, they were the ones that were before. You know, and that they had the insight to know where this technology is going. Was buying that URL. You know, I mean, that's where they made a lot of money.
Really well. One of my mates had sex.com.
Oh, no.
He had WeBuyHouses.com.
Right.
He's had heaps of
Yeah.
Just being before, you know, knowing where the technology is going, you know. Yeah. And with crypto, that's the same thing. I mean, we do go for moonshots. I have flipped a couple where I've jumped into, but when I say flip, I mean they're gone within a week or two. Do you know what I mean? I'll jump into it, it'll 2 or 3x, okay, I'm out, you know, because I have my portfolio as utility, you know, because it's a long-term thing. Where do you think we are in the market? Are we bottomed out yet, mate? Is it all up
again,
into the
not
right
financial
now?
advice, obviously, but kind of feels like we're, I would say, within 5% of the bottom, 10% of the bottom is
Gotta be
there.
close.
We've got to be close.
Got to be close.
Yeah.
And it's going to track a bit sideways for a bit.
Yeah. I think, probably a couple of years. So
I'm thinking sort of 18 months, you know, but that's where your dollar cost averaging, you know, if you're investing. Now's the time to buying. It's ironic. Bitcoin hits new time highs, cryptos, and my phone won't stop. Right. When it all goes down, it goes quiet. It should be the opposite way around, people, honestly.
Know when to buy.
Yeah.
All righty, we've hit the end of the show, mate. How can we find you?
orangebrickroad.com.au. We got everything in crypto. We'll also have the links for this in the whatever it's called. when I post this.
On this thing called the internet.
The
Yep,
internet
there you go.
thing. And there's links also with the Trustyfy stuff like that. So it's live at the moment?
Live at the moment. We are very close to coming out of beta with our personal accounts,
Yep.
which is pretty much everything we've spoken about.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're just onboarding some early adopters now with our corporate accounts, and that'll be ramping up over the next quarter.
Okay, so someone can go get a wallet now.
100%, absolutely.
Cool.
So
That'll
where
be
do
on
they
the
go?
web-
Where do
web-
they go?
Go to my website.
There
You'll
you go.
see wallets on our little thingy jiggy. Also in the description, we'll have links. Rada. All right, we'll see you tomorrow anyway for this.
Looking forward to it.
Carry on. Have we
It's
finished
good.
yet,
Yeah,
mate?
we have, mate. It's going to be a very big thing tomorrow. I wish
Yeah.
I could go there. It sounds absolutely
Black
fascinating.
Swan Summit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And where's that taking place?
Somewhere near the Black Swan.
Gee.
No, it's at the UWA, University
Uni,
of Western Australia.
Right.
And you're not coming because they only invite cool people, mate. So,
Well, can I get a +1? Come on, really. Gee. Thanks for being
I'll
part
sort you out, bro.
of the Crypto Hour of Power here on Edge Radio Australia.
Cheers.